I left the city, I've been browsing. Treading water that they drowning. I head on the swivel, yeah. It's only really my surroundings. They keep it all the way at that.
Hey everybody, we're Zach, aka Zach's Reviews. We are back again with another video, and guys, we just got out of Eternals. I saw Eternals last night. This was my first time for my friend to see it tonight. Troy, I'm gonna let you go first on this is the spoiler talk for Eternals. What'd you think about it, bro?
It was... I'm lost for words, man. I mean, there's... I don't believe how you could dislike this movie.
Somehow people were able to do that. I don't know how.
The comedy, the action, the story, everything all together, it's incredible. It's a must-watch, must-see.
Honestly.
So.
Yeah, what I enjoyed about it is that I'm shocked people didn't like this, because it's like, for any Marvel fan, this is what we've been wanting. This is everything the movie promised us it would be. Yeah. It was a telling of the beginning of time, of these Eternals, and of the Celestials and the Deviants, and everything explained it to the point of, okay, they've been here all this time. It explained why they couldn't interfere with Thanos and stuff because of everything, and that, yeah, they needed to evolve. Like, the people of Earth needed to evolve, and you can't save them all the time. Yeah. And they explained that, and it's true. And I love how it's like, we wanted this history of how the MCU was created, and I love how that we got that in this movie. And I said it on my Instagram, on my page, when I saw it yesterday, I literally put a post out saying this was not meant for your normal movie critic. It just wasn't. You have to be an MCU fan to like this movie. Yep. You have to, because it's like, it's explaining of the lore of what we know and love about the MCU, and that's why I love this movie, and I don't see a problem with this movie. There is, for a critic that, wants 24/7 action, it's not that. It gives so much story in this movie, and yet there's a lot of action. It was doing a lot trying to explain what we've been wanting to know in the MCU. It was meant for the MCU audience. It was meant to explain it. That's why the movie was like 2 hours and whatever, right?
Yeah.
It was a long movie, but it had a lot to explain about, okay, if they were here in the beginning of time, yeah, of course you're going to want to really explain that and go through different periods of time, which this movie starts out doing. We see them come to Earth, and we see throughout the movie different periods of time, which I really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, they did a perfect job. The director and everybody did a perfect job. The acting,
Chloe Zhao, bro,
everything just.
Oh man, she killed it. She killed it. The cinematography and the way the camera work.
Yep.
With Akari, we gotta talk about that Akari. That's our favorite character.
Yes,
that is our favorite character. I knew right away. I'm a big fan of the Flash, so I knew, and of course, as for everybody that's knows about the Flash show, we know it's trash now. Literally, it's garbage. We never, this is what a speedster should be like, and Marvel gave it to us before DC gave it to us.
Yes.
And that's how it's like DC behind. DC's behind. Trust me, I'm a fan of Marvel and DC, but when it comes to Marvel movies, they take the cake. They know what they're doing. They've earned my trust. DC sells a long way to earn my trust, but I can't believe Marvel finally Marvel gave it to us before DC. How a speedster should run, how a speedster should look. It shouldn't be slow-mo. It should be fast.
Yes.
Fast-paced, fast-hitting, fast everything. And the way she was able to use her speed blew my mind. The moment where it wasn't Ajax. It was Phastos said, I need you to go pinpoint the location of the seed of, the Celestial. And she was booking it across the globe.
Yeah.
I flipped out. I flipped. I cannot believe that. Akari's got it. Icarus was my second favorite, but little did we know Icarus.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I was a little upset, but I mean, even that, it made for great.
Exactly, because it's what I loved about it is that Icarus, he went into the mission of, okay, this is my mission. Even when we see different parts of the history of the back of the history, he was the person that was always so focused on the mission, same as how Athena was focused on the mission. Yeah. Everybody else was listening to Ajax, having lives while focusing on the mission as well, living their lives. But he was the one person in Athena that always wanted to focus on the mission. But even to a point, he did it too far. He thought his life was just the mission, and it was not to just fall in love with Cersei and live his life. He had so high hopes of, okay, well, if we do what we need to do here, we can go home. But little do we know, there's no home.
Yep.
And I just feel like he had so much high hopes for that Celestial, which I forget his name. It's called like Arashi or something, or I forget or Arashim or something. I forget what it is, but it's a big Celestial we see in the trailers. And it was crazy to me that he knew it all this entire time when Ajak told him, when everybody else split up, when they took the last of the deviants out, that apparently he knew that, I guess at a certain point, that it's the Celestial, like they have to take out the deviants so that way there's more life so the Celestial can eat and be born. Yep. So like it eats the planet and that's how it's born. It's like it gains strength and it births through Earth, like, Earth, growing in population. Yep. And he knew that, and that's why he left Cersei. And I love how they explain that, and he sees at the end of all this that he's made a mistake, and then that's why he flies into the sun. Is because he realizes himself as a monster, and he feels like he's gone too far, and he's willing to hurt his family for a person that doesn't care about destroying life, and he knew he was gone. He was too far gone. Yep. And it was a really beautiful thing seeing him fly off into the sun. It's sad because I love that character.
Yeah, I
loved that character. Man. Going into this, I'm a big fan of Richard Madden from Bodyguard and everything, and it was kind of annoying when it did happen, but it made sense for the story. It needed to happen. But, bro, I need to know, like, what else did you think about this movie? Did you think it lagged anywhere?
No. I thought it just all the sequences just put together. It was great, man. I'm speechless, man.
It took me a while to process this. Like, last night, that first showing last night, I was flipping. But, like, I'm just so glad, like, that I could get, like, because I was so furious that people gave this, dude, it dropped down again, as I told him in the car. It was at a 51, it dropped down to a 49. Are you kidding me?
I wanna meet these people.
Critics,
who are
so bad.
These ratings.
Yeah, so bad. I want to meet them. I was telling him, man, this is not meant for not meant for a normal critic. This movie was meant for the Marvel fans that have been there from square one, and it annoys me that you'd think going into this they would have hired or got Marvel fans to go into Marvel movies. Yep. You need Marvel, critics to go in there and critic the movie. That's not just a normal movie you just let anybody into. Because this is a universe. This is all connected. Of course, your normal critic that probably isn't familiar with the MCU is going to give it that rating, which makes no sense. It doesn't deserve it. Yep. I'm so glad we saw it in IMAX.
Well, IGN, I saw something from IGN, and they were saying that regardless of the rating, go see the movie. It's a good watch. Exactly.
Don't listen to the ratings, guys. Don't listen. Just go into it and go watch it. I'm assuming if you're watching this, either you don't care about spoilers or you've seen the movie and you're just wanting to know what someone's opinion is on the movie. But I loved this movie. I did not see a problem with this movie. I loved how it had storytelling moments. I love how it had the action sequences. Again, Chloe Zhao's camera work and the way she was able to, do these nice, cool shots, switching it between IMAX camera and normal camera for the right moments was really, really awesome. And I really, really enjoyed how she used practical lighting. She used actual lighting, went to locations. She went to Kevin right away and said, Kevin, if I'm doing this movie, we're going to locations. We're not doing no green screen. We're not doing anything. Locations are key.
That's what I loved about it, man. Just the scenery, everything.
Beautiful, bro. This movie had the best cinematography of any Marvel movie I've seen. The best, I'd say. The action was so good.
Oh, dude.
I couldn't process it. It's like Marvel's stepping up. They know we don't want we don't want to stay in a bubble. We want to keep expanding the MCU. We don't want it to be a situation where, we don't know what's going on or we stay the same thing. That's the problem with DC. Again, I hate to compare, but, DC is so stuck and it needs to keep moving and keep, expanding its horizons. Keep, wanting to keep us on our toes. Marvel's so good at doing that. It has a formula. They stick to a formula, but it's not a repetitive formula, but they stick to it, and there's different crazy things that happen in movies. It's like they have a formula of doing things, but it's not repetitive to a way where it's this is we've seen this before, this isn't that. It gets so creative, and that's what I love. They're growing. It's like they're appealing to the audience that started from square one on. and it's not, and it's like it's getting dark too.
Oh yeah.
There was a lot of adult things in this movie that happened. Like we had a sex scene that went down. We had a whole bunch of things that went down. There's a lot of like violent fighting. I enjoyed that. It didn't pull the punches. It was everything that we wanted it to be.
And then when Druig gets sprayed over the head.
Oh my god! I thought
like,
he killed, bro. I honestly thought
I
first
thought
night he
so.
killed her.
I thought so
I was like,
too.
you
I was like-
smacked her on the dome. He said, ah.
I thought he did too. I was like, damn, bro. I didn't know that's how you felt.
And I know it was that deep. Like he said,
mean,
forget it. But it was at the fate of the world. He said, I guess she made her choice. I made my choice.
Yep.
I just love at the end of the day, they knew that what they needed to do, and they all teamed up and made the Unimind.
That's why I mean they're like, you know what, we're family regardless of everything we have to.
And we know what's right.
Yeah.
Let's do the Unimind.
Yep.
Which was awesome.
Yep.
Seeing the
It was
Unimind go down.
It was awesome. I think like what would that being would have been.
The Unimind.
Or no, the
Celestial. What would it? Bro, it would have like destroyed. What gets me is I kept thinking about this throughout the entire film. The first time I watched it, how is no one in the galaxy, no one on Earth detecting that there is a Celestial growing right now in the Earth?
Yep, Galactus.
Bro, like how did no one catch that? Like how come? We like Bruce Banner didn't get anything on this thing. How come Wakanda didn't get anything? Maybe they did, and they got notifications that there's tremors.
Can I say something about the end credit?
Yeah.
When the flashing lights happened in the end credit scene,
Yeah.
I thought it was for a second because the colors. I thought it was gonna be Captain Marvel. I didn't think it was gonna be either Captain Marvel or the multiverse.
I thought that too. I thought it was the multiverse. I also thought it could have been Captain Marvel as well.
Yeah.
And I also thought, you know what, it could be Guardians, because when you're in space, you never know who could show up. I was like, I don't know who's gonna show up, what's gonna happen. But when I saw the flickering, I'm like, oh my god, it's the same, multiverse flickering we've been seeing in Venom at the end credit of Venom, and in the No Way Home trailer. I was like, oh my god, is someone coming through the multiverse? And I'm gonna be honest, I'm thinking, Star Fox is Thanos' brother from what we all know from the comic books, and he's played by Harry Styles. We'll get into that in a second. I have a little talking about that, but I love how it's like, I think that's his brother from in a different universe in a different multiverse. That actually Thanos had a brother, because as we all know, Thanos never mentioned he had a brother in the MCU. Thanos said in Titan he was the only one that lived and survived on Titan. That's why I'm thinking that's the only thing that makes sense. And when you have colors like that, and we all know, people automatically are going to think multiverse. You thought multiverse, I thought multiverse. I'm like, oh my god, this is probably multiverse shit that's happening. Oh my god, it's starting to happen. I'm flipping the fuck out. Yeah. But like, what do you think about Harry Styles? We were talking about this a little bit in the car.
I'm with you. It is a little concerning.
It's weird.
But
I wasn't
as the scene went on, I liked the look. I think
the look's awesome. The costume's sick. I'm down. Like accuracy too. I looked at a picture of him in the comic books. Yeah. It's pretty damn accurate. The way the hair looks, the way it's pretty accurate. I'm gonna give Marvel that, and I feel like maybe that's why Kevin chose him. Yeah. It's pretty accurate to the way how he looks in the comics. Okay. My main problem is, as I told you, is that one, he has a big IP. Yeah. And he does not have enough acting experience. Yeah. He just doesn't. He's only been in Dunkirk, and he's only been in something else. He's done, of course, behind the scenes for One Direction. Yeah. Again, there's also Harry Styles fans out there that are fans of Marvel and fans of him that when they saw him, they can't even look at him because it just doesn't look right. Nah. And that's my thing. I want to look at him, I'm like, you have such a big IP. You're really going to have to impress me when I see you again, because I just see Harry Styles, dude.
I'm right there with you. I totally agree.
He has to impress me. If he's got... I mean, he barely said anything, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that Kevin saw something in him that he's going to blow us away, and like he really wants to take this seriously. Like, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust Kevin. I'm going to trust that he chose you for a reason. I'm just saying, in that next movie, if it's Eternals, I'm assuming it's Eternals because, it was kind of like, oh my god, the way we ended this movie is that, they stop the Celestial from being born, they freeze him, and then apparently that, Celestial comes back and pretty much takes Cersei, takes Kingo, and I'm pretty sure, I don't think it took Phastos. Did it take Phastos?
Yeah.
Oh,
that
shit.
Was the other one.
Phastos. Okay.
I think it didn't take Druig and
it didn't take Druig, it didn't take Thena, and it didn't take Akari. They were looking for the other Eternals.
Yeah, I think because they didn't really... I don't think they really had much to do with, like...
Well, they had stuff to do with the stopping, but I think he couldn't find them because they were on the ship and they were God knows somewhere else.
Okay.
That's why I'm like, okay, or he'll probably get them later. I don't know what he's up in his head, what he's meant to be doing or not. But all I know is that he had the key, I guess, to locate them because they were even asking. It's been 2 weeks and we haven't. It's like they disappeared on Earth. Where are they? We can't get a hold of them.
Yeah.
And of course, Thena knew right away. It's that Celestial. And I really do enjoy the fact of, okay, so he will locate them and help them find them. I just don't want him to be the solution because we know how powerful Thanos was. And I don't want it to be like he's a new character and he's Harry Styles, so let's make him OP. I don't want that to be the thing. I just don't want that to be the thing. I don't want that either. Because I don't want it to be like, oh, of course he has such a big IP and the girls love him, let's make him really strong in the movie. You know what I mean? I don't want him to be a solution. I just want him to help out.
Yeah.
And I want him... And I really am hoping he really pulls this off because, again, I have nothing against Harry Styles. I think he's fine. I just want him to, if you're going to be in the MCU and you're going to play this big character that, they're making it sound like he's going to be, he needs to impress me. He only has done 2 acting things and he was just like background character. He wasn't really a main character in those movies.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to see what he does, but I'm still very, very hesitant. He just has to impress me. But other than that, with the movie, what else did you like? I know you like Akari. I know we like, of course, Icarus. Yep. Kingo.
I love Kingo.
Laugh my ass off. Oh my god. The camera and his butlers. That made me die. The DC references made me die too. The Superman reference to Icarus with, Fasto's son. I thought that was funny. And then, the Batman reference, of course, with Gilgamesh when you said, "Oh, you're like Alfred."
Yeah.
That was funny. The DC references, I thought that was cool. And people are saying that kind of confirms, like, oh, it's like DC's confirmed in Marvel. You know what I mean? It exists in Marvel, which is awesome. I like how they're going to acknowledge that there's comics and stuff of DC in here. So it's awesome. It's cool. It's clever. I loved this movie. I just didn't see the problem why people didn't like it.
I didn't see any problems with it either.
Maybe, for your average Marvel goer, you like it to be repetitive. Because I know some people that don't want this universe to expand, that didn't want the Eternals, because they were afraid there was too many Eternals. They were afraid, how are you going to get so much screen time with all the 10 characters? How are you going to, split it screen time? Yeah. How going forward, if there's an Avengers movie, there's too many of them. It's it'll be too easy to defeat people. But that's not true. You have so many big villains coming with, this makes me feel like, okay, where is this going to lead into? Because he said he's going to be coming back. He said he's going to be checking their lives that they've lived to see if Earth is worth saving. So he said he's going to come back and for judgment for Earth, which makes me feel like, okay, maybe, does the rings tie into, because we know the rings from Shang-Chi was calling out to somebody who was that. Yep. We know the multiverse is coming and there's big threats in the multiverse. It's like, how does this all tie in and what is going to be the next big Avengers movie? Yep. I feel like when you're saying this big Celestial is coming back, that seems like that you got to get everybody together. You can't fight the Eternals just can't fight that one thing.
It's just who's all going to be together in that
Exactly.
movie,
There's just so much going on. Yep. And I'm hoping that maybe if this has something to do with, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, or maybe this is all going down because of the events of Loki, and this is just the tremors and everything going down. Because also we heard that the reason that what was it called, there's a word for it, the submergence or the emergence. For the emergence was stalled because Thanos snapped. And all those years that Thanos snapped, there wasn't enough energy for the Celestial to be born. Yeah. And I thought that was clever that they explained that, and that's why the thing wasn't born when Thanos did what he did or anything, or what I mean? I really enjoyed that. I thought that was clever and cool that they explained it. And we hear about the blip on the news and everything when they're talking about all the tremors happening. And remember, in Avengers Endgame, I just thought about this in my head when you were talking about, Kingo and everything and all that. Remember how when Black Widow is talking to everybody on the council of taking over, people that are taking care of the Earth. She was talking to Captain Marvel, War Machine, and Okoye.
Yeah.
Remember how Okoye said there was tremors in Wakanda?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking maybe in that time span, maybe it started to kick into gear a little bit, or maybe it started to slow down the process, and maybe that's why there was a little bit of tremors.
Yeah.
That could be a possibility, and maybe the tremors that that's been going on around Earth, earthquakes and everything. I'm thinking that could be a possibility. Maybe that was a little hint of the emergence of that celestial being born. That is awesome. Maybe that snap maybe made it shake a little bit, and maybe made a little bit of rumblings of, oh my god, okay, it started to slow down the process, and that could be why.
Okay.
And that's something that popped into my head. But I loved this movie. I loved the characters. I loved what they were doing with Thena. Her having her it looked like I guess it was like an illness she caught or something.
Yeah.
I think it was a natural illness. I don't know if it's because she was an Eternal. I didn't quite get that a little bit. I think it was just maybe just an illness that was back in the time that had no cure or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting to me that they were doing that with that character. It didn't affect the character or anything. It gave the character a lot of depth and a lot of growth of, okay, she needs to overcome this. And she needs to pull through, and she had that one person that could always pull her back from her her being taken over.
Yeah.
And I love how it was Gilgamesh, and when Gilgamesh died, that made me sad.
Yeah, it made me sad.
That was a very sad moment. I was like, damn. And it all kind of happened because of Icarus. If Icarus didn't kill Ajax, I mean, and I'm pissed because people spoiled that kind of about Icarus being the one that killed Ajax because they're like, oh, where's this footage that that we haven't been seeing or whatever, where we don't really see it. We see this, a couple scenes with Ajax, but after that moment, we've only seen a couple of scenes of Ajax, and the rest of the movie, we don't see anything else of Ajax. And people put together Icarus on the, the farm, and him doing the lasers, and I was like, oh my god, that's actually a good theory. I thought Druig was going to be the villain, because he wanted to take over people's minds.
Yep.
I was like, they tried to trick you in the movie, making you think, oh my god, it could be Druig that did it. But actually, it was actually Icarus, and I'm so pissed that people got it right because I didn't believe it. I don't think so. That's a long shot theory, but they were right. Right when I'm like, we don't see the moment where they're sitting on the porch, we don't see the moment where she's on the horse, and we don't see the moment where Icarus is doing the lasers. I'm like, he killed her. I was like, I thought that halfway through the film, he totally killed her. I was like, why'd you have to do it? Why? I love that character.
I love Ajax too, man. I thought she went way too soon.
Yeah, bro.
I would have loved to see more of her.
Oh, she was a badass. Salma Hayek is awesome. She's such a great actress, and I just wish she had more time. I wish, the actor that, that played Gilgamesh had a lot more time.
Me too.
Oh, man, it just makes me upset, because could you imagine you're getting a big break in a Marvel movie and you die? But then again, you never die in the comics. You never know they could bring her back.
Yep.
You never know. And that's what makes me happy. That's what makes me happy. Yep. You never know when they could come back. And I really, really enjoyed how... the powers, seeing everybody's powers, and then seeing where everybody went after they decided they took out their they thought they took out the Deviants, where all they went. I love how Kingo went to acting. I love how Akari stayed on the ship on the I forget what the ship is called. It's called the Doma or the Domu. I think it's called the Doma or something, right?
Yeah.
Right? I think
something like that.
Something like that. It's called something like that, but. I really do like how she did that, and she was nowhere to be found because she's been running around all around the globe, picking up artifacts and stuff. And I do like how we see, of course, what Druig was up to. He had the same people, and he was leading them through all that time.
Yeah, in Amazon.
So that was really cool to see that. Just seeing where everybody was at after all that time, I really appreciated. I just thought this movie had good pacing, great action sequences, great cinematography, and just a full-on blast of the time. Everything I signed up for.
Me too, man. And then some. It definitely blew,
And seeing the Black Knight at end credit, and we only saw him for a little bit throughout the movie, but we really get to finally be like, okay, he knows what he has to do because it's a big threat that took Cersei. He loves Cersei, so that's why he's going to get the sword.
So is he gonna be like an anti-hero, a hero?
He's a good
villain?
guy, but that sword takes over him, he has to fight it.
Because dude, you can tell when you look at it, and then what did it say? Death something.
Death's a reward. I said, oh shit. And I said, oh no.
Yeah. Dude,
and the noises of the souls it sounded like it had in it. I'm like, oh no.
You could just tell that it was dark.
It was wrapped in a blood wrapping.
Yep.
Oh my god, it looked like that's what's containing it. I don't even know. But right when he's reaching for it, and then we hear Blade.
Oh man.
Oh my god, I flipped out. I did not know
that
my
the Blade from the original Blade, or is that who's gonna play
Mahershala Ali's Blade? And I've been hearing that he's gonna make his first appearance in Moon Knight. I told you, that's what I've been hearing. That apparently he's been spotted on set of Moon Knight, and that's where he's gonna make his first appearance. And I'm thinking maybe from there, maybe we see at the end of Moon Knight, we see him go to the moment of the Eternals when he's gonna say, "Are you sure you're ready for that?" I'm gonna be so excited when we finally see that moment, because there's gonna be a moment when it ties in like that, and I'm gonna flip out.
That's why I love the MCU, man.
The MCU is so freaking
they're
good.
Expanding and tying everything together.
It's just craziness. This movie, I just Chloe Zhao killed it. I just don't see my 49. Are you kidding me? What was everybody smoking? Honestly, I need to know. What were you smoking?
Or, did you, not even watch the movie?
Did you not get sleep the night before? Did you stay up all night and sleep through the movie? Oh my god, what?
I
don't care what that Flash movie does. Oh my god. This movie ruined the Flash movie. Any hope of that Flash movie. I feel bad. But
I will admit, this was a movie I wasn't too excited for a few months ago, and as it got closer I got a little bit more excited, but I never had super high hopes. And then seeing the movie I literally almost cried, almost teared up. Even from the beginning fighting, I cried. My body, I was just like, this is insane, this is great, just everybody fighting together. It was
the teamwork.
Yes.
Some Avengers shit. I was like, oh my god.
It was a beautiful film, and I
love how this universe is growing. I love the diversity too.
Me
it's
too.
Amazing
I love
to see it.
Too.
Oh my god, just Marvel. Kevin, I just hope Kevin never leaves, because
in the comics there's a bunch of diversity. There's a bunch of diversity,
and they're not afraid to hit it too. They're not afraid to talk about rough conversations going on in the world. They're not afraid to talk about they're not afraid to do diversity. It's like they do it. They face they face the problems in society, and they do it in the MCU.
That's why the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was such a strong
they weren't afraid to not talk about those topics.
Yep.
I really love that. I just really love and I really appreciate how the MCU has grown over the years. It started in 2009 with Iron Man 2. Iron Man 1.
Iron Man
on. Are you kidding me? And seeing how much it's grown.
Yep.
It's beautiful to see. It's great to see. I feel like, this is just the beginning of craziness. Yep. This is just the beginning. And I said that when, this beginning of the phase started with Loki, or actually with WandaVision. I'm like, this is only the beginning of what craziness is about to happen.
It's
going to get crazier. This is only the tip of the iceberg. Not even. It's going to get crazier. This phase, oh god, they weren't kidding when they said we're going into space. Yep. We're doing space shit in this phase.
Yep.
Crazy. I give this movie an A+.
An A+? Yeah, I give it an
A+. A+, baby. Movie was fire. Didn't see a problem with this movie. Had a blast of a time. I got emotional the second time around. I'm gonna watch this movie probably 10 times when I get it on 4K, Blu-ray, Steelbook. I have all the Eternals Legends figures except Sprite and Ajax. I can't find Ajax. That's a Walmart exclusive.
Oh, it is.
But I found Sprite at Best Buy today.
Did you get it, or
I didn't get it? I have to go out back in. They had so many.
They had a lot.
They had so many. So of course I'm gonna go back in and get it.
Sprite's a slept-on character too.
Yeah,
I like Sprite.
She was a really cool character.
And I wonder if they'll have Sprite going forward now that she's
given up her power and she's gonna be aging.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm wondering too. I'm wondering what they're gonna do with that character. That's because again, it's just so sad. Because could you imagine you get a big break in the MCU and then you kind of just either get killed off in the first movie, or you get you lose your powers and you just want to go off.
Well, can Sprite go back
to being that? I don't know, because it looks like you need the power of the Unimind. That was the only way she was that Cersei was able to let her take her power so she could become human and she could live her life and age and stuff. So it's I think you need to do the Unimind again, taking powers from the Celestials to be able to take powers from, other Eternals and to also, give powers to people, I'm assuming.
Yep.
So I just love this movie. I give it an A+. I don't know what people were smoking. Again, this should be an example. Don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes at all. Just don't do it.
Yep.
And this should be a prime example that if you don't know the MCU, you're a critic, you should not be reviewing an MCU movie. That's just as simple as that.
Exactly.
You shouldn't.
Exactly.
Because this is a movie that follows other movies. You can't just go into something and just be like, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, forget about all the history of the MCU. I'm just going to review for how it is. Even though it depends on the history of the beginning of the universe.
You got to do your homework, man.
Exactly. Do the work.
Yeah.
How are you a critic? How? They need to get some youngins up in there.
Yeah.
That actually have that have like the what's the word for it? Like that has like the creativity of like the mind of like to see creativity and the mind to see adventure and just that feel, you know what I mean, that just sees that stuff, to sees the little things. Like you need younger people in there because I mean at the end of the day this is meant for the audience that from 2000 and like from the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe back in the 2000s on. So this is meant on the history of everything. Of course, like you need some people that know their history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe to go into this movie and again, critic this movie. I just really wish, going forward, I hope that's what they do. Again, like Shang-Chi is a different story because that movie on its own feels like it was on its own.
Yeah.
Except like the end credit and except some little hints here and there. It felt like it was its own entity.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why so many people liked it and enjoyed it, and that's why so many people gave it some, so many, great, things, because it did deserve it. The movie was freaking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it was its own thing. It feels like it was its own movie. And which was awesome to see that, okay, that's awesome. It didn't depend on anything, it was just its own thing. Same as this movie didn't do that, but this movie, again, was the beginning of time of what we know in the MCU, so it had a lot to do to explain that's how things were able to be, which I really enjoyed. So that's why what really annoyed me is my one manager told me that one of the critics, when he came out, said it wasn't going to beat Shang-Chi. I'm like, that's because Shang-Chi was its own entity. It wasn't a movie that was the beginning of time of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It had a lot to do in 2 hours, which it did that.
The Thursday showing beat Shang-Chi.
Exactly.
So
I don't know what those critics are talking about.
In attendance, so, I mean, people wanted to see this movie.
Yeah.
So that goes to show you.
And also, if anything, also, even by the audience score, the audience give it like an 84 or something on Rotten Tomatoes or something. Which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And it's going to go higher, I feel like, as time goes on.
It should go higher.
Yeah. So I think it's going to get higher as time goes on, because again, this is only a Friday. It's like it just came out on Thursday. So I think it's going to even go bigger in numbers. I think it's going to even go bigger in the audience score. I mean, I don't know if Rotten Tomatoes, it's run by people that just don't know the MCU. Of course, it's going to keep probably still going down, but I can't wait to see that audience rating just keep going up.
Me too.
I hope to see it, because it does deserve, this movie deserves a high praise, because it was awesome. But is there anything else you have to say about the movie, bro?
Not on the top of my head, no.
I just can't process it. I can't process what this movie was. I can't believe we finally got it. It feels like it's been forever.
I know.
When they announced it back in whenever.
All these movies, man. Feel like.
Who thought we would get here finally?
Yep.
To see this movie.
Yep.
I'm gonna feel that way when No Way Home. It's the week of No Way Home. Like, who thought we would get to see this movie finally? Like, oh my lord.
You see it, you're just like,
Morbius is really gonna make me feel that way finally, because that movie was it's been pushed back. Same as Black Widow.
I think more.
Like, I just can't wait for us to finally see that too. And see how that's all going to connect in the MCU as well, because those characters are coming in the MCU.
I just hope they
craziness.
I just hope they didn't overdo it with the Morbius trailer.
Oh, you mean like giving away things? I still don't know what's going on.
Not necessarily giving away things, but like make the trailer more interesting than the actual
movie.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I can feel that. I feel that.
Like giving away the movie, but
you never know. We'll have to see.
Yep.
But yeah, guys, that was the video. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel and put on the notifications. Like this video. Right now, I'm at 402, almost.
Oh, you got the 400?
Yeah, I'm at 400, bro.
Congrats,
400, bro. Yeah, so I'm at 402 right now. My next goal is to get to 500. I know we could do that. My initial goal is to get the 700 or 800 before the end of this year. I'm still keep being optimistic. It could happen. You never know. And, if people like this video and, they want to come join this family here on this channel, again, we're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation here on this channel. That's all that's all we do. We don't have any time for that that negativity. We just want to motivate people here on this channel and spread love, positivity, and motivation. That's what I do here on this channel. And I would just love for you guys to join this family on this channel and, talk about things that we love, pop culture, cinema, and everything. And just have a blast of a time. But yeah, that was our review for Eternals, our spoiler review. And I just loved it. I saw it in IMAX twice. So I saw it, Thursday
I definitely want to see it again before it's out of theaters. So.
I'll definitely see it again. If you want to see it like this upcoming week or something, I'm down. I'll see it again. But yeah, I had a blast of time. My first night when I went though, I'm not gonna lie, I had a kind of crappy experience going into the theater, like going into the doors, because there was a rude dude at the box office that kind of made me upset. He was kind of being rude for no reason. Yeah, a worker. It was like one of the managers. He was kind of just jumped down my throat when I asked a question, which was out of the blue. I mean, I usually never have that when I go into a movie theater, especially a movie theater that I give a lot of money to. But it kind of like made my anxiety kind of like bounce up a little bit. Like it spiked my anxiety a little bit, and it kind of put me into like some pretty bad emotions and stuff. But I kind of like said, breathe, forget that. Don't let him ruin my time. I've been waiting for this movie, and I went in and I had a blast of time. I wasn't gonna let some person that just out of nowhere just ruin my time. You know what I mean? I was just gonna go and like forget that dude. He wants to just make people feel bad. That's on him. He's gonna lose customers. I mean, if he's gonna treat people like that, he's not going to get anything out of treating people bad. So I mean, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. But other than that, I'm just happy I had I had a better experience this time. With my bro, and his sister went. We just had a great time.
Oh,
I had a blast of a time.
I had a blast too, man.
I'm so happy we were able to do this too.
Me too.
Yeah. So yeah, you're always welcome here on the channel. I have to do more reviews. Hopefully, you guys will see more here on the channel. We'll do more reviews together. But guys, yeah, that was the video. Yo, go shout out your stuff. Shout out your Instagram and everything, your Twitch.
Oh, yeah, Instagram is TROYPFAB, and my Twitch is PittsburghGoon98.
Go follow him, guys. Follow him on his Instagram, Twitch. He's going to start doing more stuff on Twitch. Hopefully, we'll start getting some Fortnite stuff on there. I'll do some stuff like that. So we'll get some, cool content up for you guys and stuff, maybe on the game side of things. I'd love to start doing that again. But guys, that was the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.